The Toxic Avenger is slimy, it's violent, and yes, it's still got that B-movie heart beating under a mountain of CGI guts. This reboot brings Peter Dinklage, Elijah Wood, and a whole lot of toxic waste into the modern age. But is it a mutant masterpiece or just a dumpster fire with green ooze on it? Stick around because later we're talking about peeing on chains to escape juggalos with guitars and why this thing might be the weirdest Saturday morning cartoon you were never allowed to watch. Hey everyone, welcome back to Atomic Cult Media, the channel where we dive into movies that are either cult classics, cult wannabes, or just plain cult level weird. I'm Wes, your cinematic janitor of trash and treasure, and today we're cracking open the Toxic Avenger 2025. So grab your mop, your popcorn, and maybe a hazmat suit. The story kicks off with Winston Gooze, played by Peter Dinklage, a meek and awkward guy working as a janitor at a chemical plant. He's shy, he's quiet, and honestly, he feels like he's playing a rejected character from Napoleon Dynamite. One bad accident later, and boom, Winston gets bathed in radioactive waste and transforms into the Toxic Avenger, a deformed but strong vigilante with a mop for justice and a bladder for questionable power. The movie follows Toxie cleaning up crime and corruption in the city, literally and figuratively. We've got corporate villains, mutated henchmen, and even a gang that feels like they should be opening for Insane Clown Posse. The whole thing mixes superhero tropes with Tromaville absurdity, except this time it's slicker, glossier, and a little more self-aware. But here's where things get interesting. The editing choices, the throwback musical cues, the one absolutely bonkers climax that you'll either have you clapping or cringing. Because later I'll break down why this feels like a Saturday morning cartoon that went through a meat grinder. Peter Dinklage plays Winston Gooze, the Toxic Avenger. Pre-transformation, he's shy and awkward. Post-transformation, he's a hulking creature with Dinklage's voice and attitude. Elijah Wood goes full creep mode as Fritz Garbinger, the villainous corporate heir. Imagine Frodo if he got into meth and worked for OCP from RoboCop. Jacob Tremblay plays Winston's stepson, providing the emotional hook and kind of the movie's heart beneath all the slime. Kevin Bacon shows up as Bob Garbinger, the main corrupt CEO pulling the strings. He's slimy, smarmy, and deliciously over the top. And Julia Davis adds more campy villainy as the corrupt politician type. This is directed by Macon Blair, who's mostly known for acting. He previously directed a great movie on Netflix called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. I believe it's like one of my favorite movies of that year. So I've been looking forward to this movie for a couple of years. I've heard about it. I heard there was a lot of positive reviews at Fantastic Fest, but it just couldn't find distribution because they didn't know how to market it. But leave it to Cineverse, who brought us the Terrifier movies, to bring it to theaters in an unrated cut. But let's start with what I liked about the film. It knows what it is. It knows it's a Troma remake, and it just goes completely gonzo bananas at just the right places. I mean, you have Toxie peeing on himself to escape chains because he's got acid piss. I don't see Iron Man doing that. There's a lot of villains in this. There's Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood, and then there's another gangster guy, and then there's like these henchmen that work for Elijah Wood's character, and they're basically a band, and the lead singer is basically a juggalo, and they were kind of fun. And that's a kind of a fun little throwback because that's what makes it feel like a Saturday morning cartoon. It's almost like they mixed the original Toxic Avenger with the Toxic Crusaders cartoon a little bit. There's like constant humor in the background. I was kind of surprised with some of the humor in this because a lot of it is very Naked Gun level absurdist humor throughout this, which I was not really expecting. I was expecting like more Troma like humor in it. I mean, I know it can be absurdist, but I mean, I just watched Naked Gun, the remake, just a month ago, and I definitely see the parallels with some of the humor in this. And of course, I recently watched this with Lucas for our retro review and reaction. You can basically check out our video at the end of this video, and I'll pop it up on there. And I'm glad I did because there was like just a ton of throwbacks to the original, like Kevin Bacon's nickname being Bozo, who's like the main bully from the original movie. A lot of the music, especially the Nothing at All cover playing during the credits. And of course, there's a Lloyd Kaufman cameo thrown in at the end. If you're enjoying this review, hit like and maybe subscribe. Everyone's welcome into the cult. But there was a lot of things I did not like about this film. I didn't like Peter Dinklage's human performance. It was just, I know he's supposed to be shy and awkward and quiet, but I don't know, something about the performance just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It just didn't match the tone of the movie. You're gonna have this shy, awkward guy in this completely absurd and loud movie. It just didn't work for me. Of course, after transformation, it's not Peter Dinklage in the costume. He does the voice work, and it's not too bad. I mean, Toxic Avenger or Toxie, he gets his confidence, you know, so I guess that makes sense. But I just didn't like the human performance of the first part of the movie with Dinklage, and it felt kind of like a slog, honestly, if I'm kind of looking at it through that lens. I mean, after the transformation, it starts to really pick up, but yeah, I just wasn't a fan of his human performance. And this is a very, very basic superhero plot. It might have been more original during the Toxic Avenger in 1984, but, you know, we've had a shitload of superhero movies in the past 20 years, so I was hoping they would go a different route a little bit, maybe, or just a different take on it, but it's pretty basic. I mean, the story structure of a superhero movie, that's what this is. Just with some, like, 80s, 90s edginess to it. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but I found the editing terrible in this, like, especially during the gory scenes. Like, it just felt like something was chopped out of this, and it's so weird because this is like labeled the unrated cut. I mean, it's on the fucking title card that it's unrated. It just did not meld together. I don't know what was going on with it. Maybe we'll find out later on if it was like chopped up the pieces, but it just didn't flow very well. And the gory scenes, like, I'm not a fan of the CGI gore, and I think that misses the charm of Troma. Troma was known for practical gore, even if it looked like shit. Like, and I'm just not a fan of the CGI gore. It just looks fake. It looks cartoony. And, you know, maybe that's the point. You know, I mentioned it felt like a mature Saturday morning cartoon, but I feel like it takes away a lot of the Troma charm. And here it feels like a Marvel movie that got food poisoning. Overall, I would give the Toxic Avenger 2025 a 3 out of 5. I only slightly recommend the Toxic Avenger 2025. It's absurd, it's fun in parts, but it's heavily flawed. I've been waiting 2 years for this, and honestly, I walked out a little disappointed. I love Troma films, I love Macon Blair's earlier work, but this doesn't fully capture the chaotic and DIY spirit of Troma to me. And that's where the charm comes from. If you want true Troma vibes, I recommend go watch Hobo with the Shotgun or Psycho Gorman. I had a fun time, and hey, I got this sick popcorn bucket. Look at this, it's awesome. But did you see Toxic Avenger? What did you think of it? Did it hold up to the original? Does it hold up to the spirit of Troma? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like this review, you should check out this where we watch the original Toxic Avenger in its entirety, and click here to subscribe. And remember, keep it weird.